West.
So in that video I said I would describe myself as neoliberal, and this is a problem because neoliberal means a million different things to a million different people. The definition I use is really the way that pretty much every person I've seen who describes themselves as neoliberal, like unironically neoliberal, kind of the way that they describe themselves. Care about the poor, the global poor, so not just poor people in the US, or in his case in the UK. The world is overall getting better, and redistribution of wealth. In other words, I think neoliberals are generally pro what works to reduce suffering, which is something I talk about a lot on this channel. It's like, that's the thing I care about.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel here. It's Lavender here, and today I am doing a response video to Unnatural's Vegan's Q&A video where she talks about her political affiliations, political beliefs, political views, etc., and why I think she's out of touch and completely wrong. So let's get started into this video. So yeah. So she basically says that she is into neoliberalism, and neoliberalism is the best way for, to end suffering and stuff. And I want to talk about, I'm going to give like a rundown why I think that she is wrong. So let's get started. So here we go. So neoliberal policies, for example, how the United States invades in the countries, U.S. intervention, and how they talk about how they're fighting for democracy when they're not, and they're fighting for freedom to free the people in the countries. Well, U.S. intervention and neoliberal politics / policies has never really reduced any suffering in any third world countries, such as Africa or South America. It has actually done kind of the opposite, really.
Alright, so we all know that since the founding of the US Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, in 1947, it's been consistently active in destabilizing nations and governments around the world. We start off in Guatemala, where in 1954 the CIA helped to overthrow the leftist president Jacobo Arbenz. Guatemala City was bombed and a military regime was installed that would pave the way for the country's civil war, which raged into the 1990s, killing over 200,000 people. 5 years later, the Cuban Revolution marched defiantly into Havana, and the CIA began its never-ending, albeit quite unsuccessful campaign against Cuba and Fidel Castro. This included the failed Bay of Pigs invasion and the hundreds of attempts on Fidel Castro's life. Its neighbor, Haiti, was a bit more unlucky, depending on whose side you're on. In 1959, the CIA squashed a rebellion against dictator Francois Duvalier, helping him mobilize an army to violently repress those against him. His successor, Jean-Claude Duvalier, continued the repression through to the 1980s, leaving over 100,000 people dead. Brazil's democratic president, João Goulart, was overthrown in 1964. He died 12 years later under suspect circumstances. Chile's 1973 CIA-backed coup saw the death of democratically elected President Salvador Allende. General Augusto Pinochet was installed as a bloody dictator for roughly the next 18 years, in which thousands of people were killed and tortured.
Number one, first of all, they don't care about the poor because capitalism doesn't care about the poor. Neoliberalism supports capitalism. They don't care about the poor. Capitalism only cares about making profits over people's lives. Capitalism, only cares about making profits. The perfect example of this is the bankers. The bankers, support and breed war and U.S. imperialism. It affects the poor in third world countries. It does not, help the poor or care about the poor, period. Second of all, number two, what distribution of wealth? This isn't Marxism, it's not Marxist-Leninism, it's not socialism, it's not communism we're talking about. This is neoliberalism, which is pro-capitalism, period. How can you be pro-capitalist and then talk about distribute of the wealth? Like, that makes no fucking sense at all. Third of all, number 3, since when does neoliberalism reduce suffering? While supporting a system, capitalism, that it legit makes people live in misery. Capitalism is misery. Capitalism, it exploits people and their labor for profits while not giving a fuck about people's lives. And on top of all that, it also supports U.S. imperialism and intervention in third world countries and other countries. A perfect example of this intervention is Libya. Because you know how the United States and Hillary Clinton were like, oh, we're going to free Libya, Libya's going to be so much better and stuff, Gaddafi's such an evil person, we need to overthrow him and stuff. And look at Libya now. The whole Libyan state is selling slaves in the slave market, and the country is destroyed and crumbling. Like, so I just wanted to make this video because I just thought that what she was talking about was pure delusion and really out of touch. So if you guys like this video, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Bye guys, see you next video.